world? It's your boy Big Business. We're here live with the team in it to win it. Here to my left, we got RICO TV representing Orlando. We got Slick Worthington representing Tampa, radio personality, artist himself, doing big things. And to his left, we got Shawn October representing Brooklyn, New York. So let's just go ahead and get into it, guys. We were discussing some things last time about, what's going on with hip hop music in Tampa and whatnot, and we really were getting to, I think, to a point to where we were like saying we have to work more together in Tampa to push the hip hop agenda here and get recognized for the talent that's obviously here in the room, in the city and surrounding areas. So one thing is a little bit difficult to do now is get your music heard. I mean, there's so many cats online posting on SoundCloud and these different things. But just because you put it up there doesn't mean people are going to listen to it. I want to kind of talk to y'all about what do you think is the best way to get your music heard now?
Well, I think it's actually going to the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the clubs, see the DJs, get it in their hands. Spend a little money with them, you gotta get them a drink, do something, socialize.
Right.
And get your music out there and even get on the radio,
What about this internet radio versus the larger radio networks? Which one should be focused on, do you think? And is it worth it to, put money into the hands of a DJ to host a mixtape to get hot in the street?
I mean, I think every avenue that we've already mentioned just now, just then, like they're all viable, they all have a benefit.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to know your target audience first, and then your target consumer audience, like who's gonna buy it or who's gonna download it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that changes from artist to artist. There's
Right.
still a foundation there, there's no right or wrong path, but are you going to use a mixtape DJ, a street DJ, and push it to the streets? Or are you going to be going back to profit, an artist that focuses more on placements and getting your songs in movies
Right.
and in other avenues,
Mm-hmm.
that aren't the traditional path of an artist in hip hop to follow, but they still can benefit you greatly and be monetarily beneficial. So I think it depends on the artist and who you're marketing to originally. And then you kind of have to narrow down what's best for that path.
I understand what you're saying. Kind of like, depending on how far you're trying to go, depends on what mode of transport. You're not going to take a bicycle to California. So the budget's obviously going to be a lot smaller if you're going somewhere that's trying to go somewhere that's close.
If you want to be that mainstream superstar with pop success, then you want to target commercial radio. You want to fit into that format. Now, if you're a boom bap conscious rapper, MC rapper, that may not fit into that formula that you hear on the radio, then why would you keep banging your head against that wall and going for that?
Right.
If that's not where you see your music being played or where you target, then hit an overseas market, hit a Midwest market, and attack these other lanes like the internet radio, the college radio, the smaller entities, but they may embrace your art better and more efficiently.
Right. Okay.
If you're not trying to be the next turn-up guy in the club,
Next Lil Jon or something.
etc. And there's nothing wrong with that lane of hip hop, but if that's not what you're trying to do, then why would you even go market your music in that category or in that group of listeners?
Right. Since people aren't really buying music much anymore, and I really, surprisingly, I haven't heard a lot of people actually acknowledging the fact that sales are low. You're not really seeing people go platinum at all anymore in hip hop majorly. So I think it's forced hip hop to take on a different role. In my opinion, almost like I have to be an actor on a reality show or an actor in the community or even in the streets to put out a persona or an image so people want to mess with me and spend money with me at these concerts or events and things of that nature. So what do you think the effect is, and how do you go back to trying to get in the black when it comes to things like that?
You have more artists that rely on show money now, including the old school artists and the people we grew up on, that really had a comfort zone up until now.
Right.
They didn't have to hit the road. We might see them every 10 years in our city.
Right.
Now they're coming through every year, twice a year.
Absolutely.
Because there's no guarantee in sales at all, and the bulk of their money is being made at actual shows. So, you know, it's forcing them to come out of retirement and come back out of the couch and get up and go do their live thing.
Right.
You know, which isn't bad. I think it steps the showmanship up in the industry a little bit more. So at least in the artistic part, we're winning.
Right. Right.
You know, it is a harder route these days. Like, you can't just sit back and get your royalty check like a lot of those guys were accustomed to, I think. So I think that's the immediate effect we see.
Right.
As far as, what was the second part?
Basically,
Where do we go from there?
yeah, I mean, you actually answered the how do you get back into the black by doing shows. You know what I mean? By doing shows, and that was basically the part that a lot of artists really don't know how to approach. And I think you pretty much answered the question pretty holistically.
Well, I think like a lot of artists, what they do is they do the shows, which actually helps with the exposure of their music. So if people really like their music, then now they have a chance to buy the music, or even get the music, or CDs if they're for sale. A lot of that, it just helps out the artists to develop, and then from there, other promoters see their shows, and then they get more bookings and stuff like that. So now it's the artist's time at that point to kind of say, well, if I'm going to come to your city, I have to charge you this X amount of dollars. I need this and that, you know, to compensate to get there.
Right. Okay.
So that's how they're pretty much expanding their whole label.
Do you see it being more difficult to get people to see that vision of investment in self? Because we've had several conversations about what people say they want to do.
Yeah.
And then what they actually end up doing when it comes to that kind of, you know, creative vision.
The main thing is to get out there. And if they're willing to get out there, they're going to get seen and, you know, get the word of mouth out that they're doing their shows and they're doing their music videos. So that's going to help them kind of like people look up what their websites are.
Right.
So this way you create that sense of presence that you're there.
Right.
You know, so that's what you want to do, is you want to get out there.
Tampa artists, I hope y'all heard that. I mean, you have to get out of your comfort zone. I'm not from Tampa originally, but you know, if I see some cats who I'm trying to work with, or I see they're doing their thing, you know, these cats right here, they're doing their thing, and they have been doing their thing consistently over a course of years. You got to step out of that comfort zone of, I'm doing this thing I'm comfortable with, I'm good, you know, because I think everybody here is good, you know. We all got food on the table, we're not homeless, you know, we're blessed, but we still want to take it to a different level, you know. So you have to, you know, get with somebody to build that house, whatever the house is going to look like. We might not know now, but it could be a skyscraper, you know, but you had to go in with that mentality of, hey, I'm trying to make something big. Because if you don't say I'm trying to make something big, you might end up with a shack because you were afraid to have that vision in advance.
What it do? This your boy Skill Collins for Grown Man Music. Hottest beats in town for the lowest price. Also for booking studio time at $30 an hour. That's including recording and mixing. Hit us up at 813-419-3989.